Wrong microphone. Welcome to our Thursday night live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two
Crazy Ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time we have working microphones, you'll be alerted to it.
Welcome to our Thursday live stream.
I am obviously ready for the Keto Orlando Summit. Like, I am all about like tropical and the prints, like, you know, just let's get summertime, last splash being August. Like, I am ready. I'm already started packing. Joe was like, what is that suitcase over there? And I'm like, I'm packing.
I don't understand why.
It's happening.
Well, we do have a busy couple weeks because we have Chris and Miriam and Steve and Holly and Sam are coming in on Sunday. We're going to be doing some diving. And then we got the Keto Orlando Summit. And then we're leaving the Keto Orlando Summit, which if you are going to that, just a heads up, we will be leaving Saturday, probably midday, because we need to head over to RV Unplugged. We're required to be over at RV Unplugged's rally on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening.
Yeah,
so,
get ready, set up for the event. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just...
And then that starts on Monday.
Some exciting things happening with a lot of people getting off the couch. Like, what I'm hearing is a lot of people living beyond the couch, getting in some community, having some fun. Yeah. So excited. So excited. I see Matt Franklin is here, and also Sarah behind the scenes. So thankful that Sarah's surgery today went well and she is home recovering.
That's
I love
awesome.
that. Love you. I bet Ghost is snuggling with her right now. That's my prediction.
So welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you're new here, our Thursday live streams are just a chance to catch up with our community, answer questions about the keto space. You can pretty much ask us anything within reason.
Yes, I did buy this at a thrift store.
But we generally like to just answer questions. So if you have a question about keto or carnivore or anything like that, go ahead and type question and then your question in the comment box down below. Or you can also use the super chat function, which we greatly appreciate. That's a little $sign that's in the chat window, and you make a little donation to the channel. It highlights our screen. It lets us know so that we don't miss it. We try not to miss questions, but obviously we do. We only have X amount of time. So, you know, if you have a question, use one of those two things. One thing I wanted to mention.
Is this the housekeeping?
Housekeeping.
Yes, housekeeping.
Yes. So.
Want me to fluff your pillow? No?
Later.
Okay.
You can fluff later.
Okay. I should not. Why did I bring that up? Why did I say that? Because Chris Farley is in my mind, feeding me lines at all time.
Nice.
That's my guardian angel.
Okay, so no, this is a serious housekeeping thing.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, I know that we're in the middle of a presidential election year, and this country is strongly divided.
Of course.
That's about all the politics you're going to hear from us here on our channel.
The end, and back to bacon.
But with that being said, I just want to, I know most of you are great, but I just want to remind everybody there is no talking about politics in the comments section of our videos.
Nope.
Or on our Facebook group or on our Mighty Networks group. And on YouTube, we have put in like code words or flag words. If somebody mentions president names, ex-president names, the election or anything like that, the comment's just going to get flagged and removed. We won't even have anything to do with it because we don't want to have any divisiveness. No. There's enough divisiveness in the world. We don't need it in our community because we're about bringing together a community. So just please, no politics at all. The comments will be completely removed. We're not going to answer them. We're not going to tell you why. If you put words like Biden or Trump or Kamala Harris or Democrat, Republican, anything like that, honey, it's going to just get automatically removed. Also, with that being said, I did get a comment from somebody complaining that there was a political ad on one of our videos supporting or was put out by a candidate. And I just wanted to say we have zero ability to change that.
No, a lot of times that has to do with like algorithms that's like trying to reach you for some reason. Sometimes it goes like the polar opposite of what you're looking for. Like I will find sometimes like a commercial for me, like even on Instagram, will be like frosted mini wheats or something, like something ridiculous that I would never even look for.
Yeah, so we have zero control over what ads show up on our videos. And like Rachel said, it really comes down to what have you searched in your history, or maybe even what have you talked about.
Yes.
For example,
oh my gracious,
I'm watching a lot of like how to rebuild your home videos.
Obviously.
And I watched this video from a homesteader who was demonstrating a product called the Mud Mixer, which I want. Hey, Mud Mixer, if you want to sponsor us on our new channel.
Hey.
But basically what it is, you take dry bags of concrete, you put it in the top, it augers it, and then as it's coming out the chute, it sprays water to give you perfect concrete all the time without having to have a full concrete mixer. It just automatically turns the powder into concrete and pours it out.
I love it.
I just mentioned to Rachel, we were just sitting around, hey, you got to see this new product called the Mud Mixer. My Facebook is now filled with ads for Mud Mixer.
Okay.
I never Googled it. I never went to their website. I never searched it. I literally just said it.
With this in mind, because I'm also having the same exact thing. So like the Instagram feed is Mud Mixers, thanks to Joe, and like sheep and chickens. So like, hey, if you're like, you know what? I would
How do you bury a sheep in cement?
No. No. I was going to say, like, how do you not get a bunch of, like, different, like, ads and things? And
remove the Facebook app from your phone and use the website.
But I love it. My feeds, because of what we've been just talking about, is nothing but like chickens and sheep and like renovations.
Right.
It's a lovely feed.
Yeah.
I'm
so the ads
creating.
that show up on our videos, sometimes they're geared towards you based on your search history, what you're talking about, things like that. So just a reminder that we have nothing to do with it. Just because an ad for a political candidate or an ad for a sugar product shows up does not mean we endorse that.
Right. Well, and you can imagine that I wouldn't be like, you know what I want to bury in the middle of this YouTube video? Something for a sugared cereal. Like, obviously, right? That would be terrible. I see that on a good note. Was that all the housekeeping for today?
I think so.
Awesome. Carla's birthday is today.
Very cool.
Want to sing Happy Birthday? Here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carla. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. So many more.
Oh, tomorrow is her birthday.
And a
very cool.
young 69 years old. Happy birthday to you. And many, many more.
Yeah, Jamie's like, most of my ads are the opposite of my eating choices.
Yeah.
Or politics. I think that's by design.
I think it is.
And I will say, here's a great way to avoid the commercials on YouTube. Get YouTube Premium.
Totally worth it.
And you can get it for like $10. We have the family plan. So it gives us 5 accounts. And you just never have to see an ad. You just never, but it's like $10 a month and you never have to see an ad.
I love no ads.
And
this is that time though, honestly.
And if you want to support our channel, watch the ads. Although we do get like we get a commission if you have YouTube Premium and you watch it, they still give us like a couple of pennies.
There's always like perks, like we cut the cord on cable years ago, like for financial reasons, because it was just like a bill we could eliminate. And it's kind of like cool that, when I have to watch a commercial, because like maybe you're with somebody else or you're in a hotel room or something like that, it's weird.
It's very weird.
It is weird. And I'll tell you what, those pharmaceutical ads, like, I'm like, am I watching Saturday Night Live right now? Because they are so ridiculous.
It's I'm like, hey, we can cure your erectile dysfunction, but there's a chance you're going to die of cancer, get a brain tumor,
get an eyeball
you're
in
going
your butt
to
cheek.
your kidney's going to fall out of your body.
All I wanted was
is
longer
sexually
lashes.
That worth it?
Right. No, it's like you want longer lashes. Well, here we go. Like, my gosh, no. So yeah, it's nice not having commercials of any sort.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Okay, anyway, that's the end of the housekeeping. Welcome to our Thursday live stream. we'll go through some of the comments. I'm sorry, I'm still tired from yesterday. It's
know,
lobster mini season. Yesterday and today, I went this morning going, I'm going to get 12 lobsters. I'm so excited because it's mini season and nobody's been able to hunt lobsters for the last 5 months. And every time I go out diving, I see nothing but lobsters.
I see nothing.
And so I went diving at 6:30. Well, I actually got to the boat at like 5:30, and I got one after 4 dives. I did 4 dives, dove for over 8 hours. I was actually underwater for about 5 hours. I got one. I got a bunch of pregnant females, which you can't keep. I hope
no one takes that out of context.
I think they screwed up because last Sunday they did a 1-day Florida resident only for lobster,
Disney World?
and I think everything got wiped out because like even on the boat yesterday we had 16 people on the boat on the first morning boat, and I think there were a total of like 14 lobsters between everybody on the boat. I mean, I think it got cleaned out on the 1 day only.
They're really serious about like.
Oh, it's a major fine. A captain in Boynton Beach got arrested for having pregnants on the boat.
Pregnant lobsters.
Yeah, it was a captain of a dive boat. Somebody brought up egg-bearing females, and they were out in full force.
It's like a $10,000 fine.
It's a huge fine and jail time and everything
It's
else.
one of those things that like you're measuring underwater, like in checking them. We actually had a video one time where we went out with Hugh, and like you see him lift it up and show you like, no, pregnant.
Yeah, no, I grabbed a lot of pregnants, but then you just have to.
My dog is lowering my seat.
I just had to put them back. Good news is I saw Chris Barron here. Chris, the Monday, what are you doing? You have to stand up.
He literally like.
You have to stand up. There
Here
you
we go. Back in
the
saddle
Monday
again.
marine forecast is out, and right now they're calling Monday is like 2 to 5 mile an hour winds out of the east, which means beach diving isn't great, but they're calling for like 1 foot to 2 foot
I feel
seas.
like my
better than
sweatiness
yesterday,
is
which
still-
was 5 to 10 foot seas. It was rough. I don't get seasick, but there were a couple people on the boat.
They would test it.
Yeah,
That would
there were a
test
couple
that.
people on the boat that got sick, especially with the first boat was the Goliath, the rocky diesel engine boat.
Oh my Lord.
So, anyway, but yeah, and tomorrow's weather forecast Tuesday's forecast will be out tomorrow. Let's get into the comments. I saw Jamie said, "Has anyone heard of the 2KK music on another channel? Just happened to me again today. Weirds me out." So our opening song is like YouTube content creator free music.
Right.
I don't really use it for our videos. We just have it on as like our opening thing. It's called Crimson Tide or something
Crimson
like that.
Tide.
And then so is the closing one. It's like
That's a
some
movie,
free
right?
music that you can use from YouTube. We actually pay, and that's why people ask all the time about like the running of the YouTube channel is not cheap. Like we have a service we use called Epidemic Sound, and that's where we get music from for our videos, but you have to pay for that, and you have to pay every month. It's like $20-something a month every single month.
I like when you play DJ though.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it.
I think you're great.
So yeah, so when you hear it on other channels, it's just because it's one of about 20 songs that are free on YouTube. Tom said, "What time are we going to SeaWorld and hit the coasters with Chris and you? I missed it last year. Well, you get soaked this year."
Aw, Tom, I'm so glad
We haven't been to
see
SeaWorld
you.
in a while.
We haven't. Anthony and Sarah just went like 2 weekends ago.
Abide.
Hi.
Hey Joe, sausage question. Is there a low carb, no carb binder that you've heard of? When you talk about a binder, most people will use like some kind of breadcrumbs. It's more of like when I make my sausage, I really don't put binders in. Some people can use for an emulsification process. They use like a non-fat powdered milk. There are a couple of fiber things that some people use. I've bought it, but I've never really messed with it. Usually when we make our sausage, we don't add
just
anything
don't
unless
need
we're
it.
trying to cure it.
Now we do have recipes for hot dogs and for like a chicken herb sausage.
Yeah.
So you can see just like how we make ours, if that'd be interesting to you. We do it with casings, but the recipes could also be used to make just like a sausage patty, outside of a casing if you just want the flavor, but you don't have all the accoutrement to like make a sausage.
We've used like non-fat dry milk and stuff, which I know somebody's going to say like that's really bad, but it's a very minimal amount, and it's to just help with the preservation of the fat. The key to making your own sausage is to make sure the meat is extremely cold when you're grinding it.
It gets sticky.
And then when you're stuffing it. So if you let it get warm, you end up with issues as you're trying to smoke it and cure it, and it becomes like dried out yuck. You want that fat in there.
Who wants some dried out yuck for dinner?
And what ends up happening is if you're using a warmer meat, or if you allow the meat to get too warm, it turns to glue. And so then when you go to try to cook it and cure it, all of that fat comes out. So it's got to be super cold. And if you overheat it, if you try to smoke it at too high of a temperature, it will ruin it.
Ooh, Joanna's on her indoor bike. So far, 39 minutes and 4 miles. That's actually awesome. Like you're riding that thing at a clip. Good job.
Let's see. Looking for some comments here. I missed some. Andy's here, said, hey guys, can I ask for a favor? My granddaughter has a fever, unknown cause. Can I please ask for prayers?
Yes, absolutely. Writing that down right now, Andy. Sorry.
Do you want to mention, since we put that comment on the Monday, and people are worried that we're going to start talking about a bunch of religion? We're not.
We're not. Don't worry about it.
We just read the comment.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, our channel's not going to really change from where we're at.
No.
So we never want to. We again our faith is evident to people, but we also don't push our faith on people.
No.
And so we're not going to turn our channel into that.
We promise not to be a foghorn.
Jamie said, "Do they give you a stipend for your expenses to go to the rally?" Our campsite is free.
Our campsite, yeah. Not like gas and food, or we're not. Just
right.
like.
Yeah, and then whatever food and stuff we have there, but I'm sure we're
whatever they provide.
Yeah.
Which I think is going to be good, because it's going to be a good party when the director and the producer host are all keto carnivores. Like, that's pretty freaking awesome. Also, an amazing sponsor is going to be at the rally. Salty. Ever heard of them?
Yep.
Salty
That's
is going to
really
be
awesome.
there. So excited.
John said it's refreshing to be in a no politics zone.
I'm glad you feel the same
There's
way.
enough issues around the country.
Oh my gracious. I love y'all so much, and it just really does not matter to me who you vote for. I just love you, and I love having like a safe space for everybody.
Yeah, Chris said advertisers can target specific channels, but the channel has no content over the advertisements that appear around the videos.
I think sometimes they just assign some videos for laughs at us.
I do too.
I'm not kidding. Like when I guess sometimes we've said things like a bowl of Cheerios, and then somebody will say like, hey, I got a Cheerios commercial. And you're like,
Amanda said no ad premium is worth the price. I agree.
So
I think
much.
Chris would agree too. I actually gave it to him for his birthday a few years ago, and I'm pretty sure he still has it.
It's one of those things you want to maintain. Well, and especially because I think a lot of people now watch shows, movies, television, like all kinds of things on YouTube. Like it's the biggest search engine in the world, I believe, at this point. And so even our kids, like, they primarily watch television stuff like through YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you can like pinpoint an interest, which is kind of
Joanna said, next time I see a sugary ad on one of your videos, I can blame you for my uncontrolled sugar intake, taking no control for myself.
Absolutely. You know what? Thank you for that perspective, because I think that sometimes people are like legit serious about that.
Well,
right?
Patty's mom's birthday is tomorrow. She's going to be 98. Wow, that is awesome.
How wonderful. What a blessing for you to be able to have your mom
oh my gosh.
At 98.
So speaking of 98, it just triggered something weird in my head. So fun fact.
98 degrees?
Most people who live to be over 90.
You're a big fan of that band?
No. Most people who live to be over 90 have high cholesterol.
Huh.
Which is kind of interesting, right? Like, what do they always tell you? Like,
is that
hey,
the truth for your
keep
mom?
your cholesterol down. But most people who live to a higher age have high cholesterol. Because cholesterol, your brain needs cholesterol.
Yes, it does.
Right? So I always thought that was interesting. I stupidly got into a disagreement, argument, whatever, with a commenter on Carnivore Werewolf's Facebook.
Why?
this because David.
Sorry, Carnivore.
No, I was defending him.
Okay, but
so he puts up like what he's eating, and some person started commenting how like he's killing people, telling people what they're eating, like that meat is bad for you, yada yada yada. And I thought it was somebody just on the standard American diet. And so I commented, no, he is completely on point. Like, meat should be the primary part of your diet. Like, trying to defend him. I love David. He's a great guy.
Yes, he is.
And the person goes, no, the proper human diet is fruit only.
Okay.
And because I made a comment that, like, you cannot live healthily eating, like, hardly any meat or eating, like, a vegetable and fruit-based diet, because you're missing essential amino acids. Your body needs at least 100 to 150 grams of protein. You can't get that from fruit.
Okay.
Most fruits don't have protein in it, and even plant protein is not nearly as bioavailable to you. And she came back as that is absolutely not true. Your body can survive completely on fruit. You can survive on fruit. Like, you can survive on only grains in a famine. It doesn't mean you're going to be healthy. It just means that you will survive. You will sustain at least life. Short-term survival. But it turns out she is, I believe the correct term is a fruitarian.
Fruitarian.
Where they only eat fruit. And when she said that, I'm like, okay. I'm done.
I was going to ask you, do you have like a tap out moment? My tap out's pretty.
When I realized who I'm arguing with.
Okay.
Like, I thought that person was more towards the standard American diet. And then when she came in and made the comment that the proper human diet is only eating fruit.
So they have like an established lifestyle.
And then made a comment about fruitarian is the healthiest way to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I there's no arguing with this person. It's like a fruitarian. We get every once in a while staunch vegans invading our channel. Like, they're just trying to argue with you.
Well, my tap out is usually like there's one question that even if it seems kind of mean, I feel like, well, let me just answer it. If a mean thing comes back, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. I can't do it. I can't argue, especially if I feel like you've already got the wall up.
Should we answer this question?
Yeah.
While I look for other ones.
Hello.
The Lemesis.
Hey, how are you?
How did you two meet? I've always been curious. I'm sure it's an epic story. At least I hope so.
How gorgeous is this person? I love your smile.
Well, I'll start and then I'll look for comments while you finish it.
Okay.
So, single dad.
Single mom.
And I was raising John Paul and Anthony by myself. I was heavily involved in Little League. And when I mean heavily, like too heavily. I spent about 40 hours a week at the baseball field. Some of it originally started because I was just unhappy in my marriage and it was a good way to escape. But I love teaching children, obviously, which is why we became children's directors in church. And I was an umpire in chief. I was the president of the league. I was coaching 2 teams, and at the time, Anthony was 6 years old, and we had a t-ball team, and so I wanted to get all of the kids in my t-ball group cards, and so I looked for a baseball card in the store, on like YouTube or on Google, and I found this one in Margate, which was close to me, so I went over there, and there was Rachel, but I was in the wrong store. You
were. So my family had a comic book store, which we had for a really long time. It was a great place. Think like Cheers for young people. It was like a place where everybody could just hang out, fit in. We would have tournaments like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Naruto, all those tournaments, Pokemon tournaments were there on like every Saturday morning. And Friday nights and stuff, and we sold baseball cards. And so my brother decided when he kind of took over that family business that we should separate the two, and I was all for that because I was not a jock or really into baseball card things. I always loved comic books, and we always went to comic book shows like SuperCon, or you have MegaCon here in Orlando. You've got the big ones in like South Carolina and New York and San Francisco. And so we would go to all those Comic Cons. I was like way into like cosplay, dressing up. So were the kids. Well, Caleb at that time. And so, yeah, so we had the comic book store, and I managed that, and my brother stayed at the baseball card store. And so in comes Joe looking for baseball cards into, I mean, it was a pretty, like, you know, comic book store. Just looks like, and, you know, black walls and with magnets all over them and bumper stickers and everything, really pretty punk. And so he comes in and he's like, oh my goodness, what is this? And we just started talking about kids, and I just love the fact that he loved being a dad as much as I love being a mom, and it was just awesome. So have you found another thing to talk about? Because I don't want to go to, I could tell my Caleb story, but I could.
Yeah, we've talked about it before, but but that's basically how we met. And then I did the smart thing of, we went on a date the following Monday. We went to the movies and to Ruby Tuesdays, was it?
Obviously, because class.
And we went to Ruby Tuesdays and we went to the movies. We saw Are We There Yet?
Yes.
And then
Are We There Yet?
After that, I was like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm going to take my son Caleb bowling. And then she said, do you want to go? And we kind of had this attitude of, listen, you've got a son, I've got two sons. Most people would never do this, but we're like, let's bring everybody together. Because if I don't like your son, if you don't like my sons, if they don't like each other, there is no point in going any further. I always told the boys as they were growing up, don't date somebody that you wouldn't marry. Because, like, why? Well, that
try to force it or make it fit.
You start dating for a long time, you really like them, but you had no intention on ever marrying that person. You know, like, it's like whoever you want to date, that should be a possible marriage person. And so, like, why extend this out to find out in 6 months that we don't like each other's kids or they don't like each other, and then it's not going to work. So we did that, and we literally every date for a year pretty much involved the kids. We would like, if there would be one night a week where the kids,
that's common.
It was literally, I think, one night a week where the kids were with their other parents. We would try to have a date, and then there was one day where she would spend with her mom, but we would hang out sometime that night. But I literally did not let her out of my sight until she said I do, because I felt like she is a catch.
I appreciate that.
And I didn't want to give her an opportunity to meet anybody else.
I just want to tell you.
So it literally was every day. I think there was one time where you went to a comic book convention for 2 days.
I love you. And I just want to say, like, we got together and I was over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, when you're saying this, like, I was such a catch, and, like, you didn't want me to get away, and you love me so much, like, what is very special about you is I knew I was solid knowing that it wasn't about the way I looked on the outside. Like, you loved me, like, thick or thin. And so.
Yeah. And then we got married a year later. Okay. Back to the comments. John said, lobster like deer everywhere until you cannot. Yeah, absolutely.
You nailed it, John. That is exactly
literally last week when I was diving, lobsters were everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, that's, a lot of times we've got a bridge and like a canal. My mom is actually on a canal over here by our house, and there's like lots of fishing going on like this time of year, and mom's like, you'll see fish, and then somebody will come up with a fishing pole, and it's all of a sudden it's like, what do you mean? There's no fish in this pond.
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Jamie said we just bought 2 brand new electric bikes for $75 each. I know they're not going to be great, but the non-electric versions are $170. And and one doesn't have pedals.
Well, you may be surprised.
We love our electric bikes. We have electric bikes and absolutely love them. Carrie has a question.
Hey, Carrie.
A while back on Shark Week, they had something about how divers missed the boat back and they were stranded. Just wondering, has it ever happened to anyone diving? Yes, it's happened. Usually, there's actually a video about a guy who was stranded at sea for like 48 hours.
Gracious.
In another country. And it's rare. Okay, so here in South Florida, I do a lot of what's called drift diving. So the boat I go with one company for the most part. It's called South Florida Diving Headquarters. I know all the captains. I really like them. We have a ton of wrecks here. So when we go out to a wreck.
We're a wreck.
Most of the wrecks are like sunk on purpose. So for reefs and for diving and stuff like that. So we go out to the wreck. You have a dive master who does what's called a hot drop. And what that hot drop is he has to jump in the water by himself, descend very quickly. Like, for example, the Lady Luck's at 130 feet of water. He has to descend very quickly, find the wreck, tie a chain to it, come up. He gives the conditions, and then from there, divers go down the line to the wreck. That's one kind. The boat is just tied up. Then when everybody comes up, they do a count to make sure we have everybody on the boat.
I think that is the biggest thing.
You have to go with a reputable diving company.
You have a count. They take attendance when you get on the boat, and then they take attendance when you get back on the boat.
Yeah.
After
And then
your
there's
dive.
always 2 crew members on the boat, a dive master and a captain.
Yeah.
And then also you have other people like dive professionals like myself who can help out in the case of an emergency.
Yeah.
Then we also do what's called drift diving. So usually when we do wreck dives, you do a wreck dive and then you do a drift dive, because your second dive shouldn't be as deep as your first dive. The drift dive, you jump in the water, you go with a flag, and the boats follow us. And then when you come up, they pick you up. It's never happened with us unless you had some kind, like I've never been on the boat where you had an emergency where somebody just disappeared. But I mean, it has happened where somebody screws up, something like that. When you hear about people who they come up and the boat's gone, it wasn't a reputable diving company.
Yeah,
It was just like some Yahoo who goes out in a boat. It's not a licensed agency.
Like I have a boat.
It happens in foreign countries,
more
kind
so,
of thing.
yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not something that I don't really worry about. Jamie wants to know about diving. When you go diving, are you scared of sharks? I'm terrified of them.
That's a great question.
So sharks don't attack divers. So
we're not the easiest.
First of all, sharks don't like our taste. When sharks do attack, it's a case of mistaken identity. For example, go diving in a black wetsuit on the Great Barrier Reef with seals.
That's not a good move.
Mistaken identity.
Right.
Because you're swimming with their food. For the most, I have been diving with sharks. So is Rachel. They do not bother you. They will literally, the only time they're going to bother you is maybe if I'm spearfishing and I've got a bloody fish. They just want the fish. They don't want me. They don't like the taste of us. But sharks don't really attack divers. There's lots of places right here in Jupiter, Florida. There's like 5 places that take you shark diving where you go down and they feed the sharks to attract them. It's actually one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of sharks here. Like, it's rare that you see sharks on our reefs here in Fort Lauderdale because they're all up in Jupiter, which is why I'm against shark diving like that, because they're feeding the sharks. And now the sharks know that the food is there. So they are jumping in the water and they're feeding the sharks. The sharks know, hey, it's coming.
People equals food.
And the point that people want to dive with sharks, and the whole idea behind it is to show that sharks don't attack divers. Things like jaws kind of ruin it. But they really are more afraid of us, and you'll just see them swimming around. They don't bother you at all. But I don't like shark feeding because if those organizations go away, the sharks are now like, where's my food?
Where's my food? Or if I
and
see
you
something.
can see how, like, you used to see sharks here in Fort Lauderdale. You'd be swimming along. There's a lemon shark. There's a bull shark. They don't bother you. And you just kind of see it. Like, I've seen a hammerhead. There's never been an incident of a hammerhead attacking a human, by the way. But we don't have them that often. But they don't. The people who sharks attack tend to be surfers and swimmers. Because they're splashing on the surface.
Right.
But when you're down underneath, you're just another fish.
Mistaken identity.
Joanna said, I'm afraid of open, deep water. I have a panic attack and drown.
A lot of people have that situation, definitely. Especially, I will say, even for myself, I really love when you have clear waters. That is something that's really nice. Whether we are in the springs, like coming to Florida and going to springs is wonderful because like the water is so clear. You know, whenever we are diving, the water is nice and clear, and I like that. It's when you see, you know, really dark water and I don't know what's going on. It's the reason why I even like paddleboarding, stand-up paddleboarding, even more than I like canoeing and kayaking. It's because of that vantage point. I can stand up on a paddleboard and I can see things, not just the things that are right here near me, but like far away. And I feel like that makes me feel a little bit more in control.
Yeah. Jennifer said, I use ridiculous amounts of cheese in mac and cheese. What do you
Yay.
recommend for an emulsifier in mac and cheese? You use an immense amount of in mac and cheese. So when you talk about for sausage for an emulsifier, it's just the way you want it.
Well, no, macaroni and cheese. She's making the mock cheese. Like, is there a way that, like, for the emulsifying?
Use a little bit of guar gum. Yeah, if you're trying to thicken it up, use a little bit of guar gum. Jamie said, I hear there's a big increase in the amount of sharks in Florida waters. Is that true? Not in my experience. I dive a lot. I've seen a few sharks, but not many. Again, I've seen a hammerhead, see a lot of nurse sharks, which calling a nurse shark a shark is like calling your pet cat a tiger.
They're kind of like a catfish. They just sit on the bottom, really.
I've seen a couple of black tip reef sharks, but again, like I'm skating along in the reef and here you go. You know, they do not bother you. When you got to remember that there's the media. People talk, but they say there's no more shark attacks now than there were in the 50s. What's the difference is you have the media that publicizes it.
Yeah, and to be spread across the nation at once.
Most of the time when people get attacked by sharks, it's either, like I said, mistaken identity or they've done something stupid. Like last year, was it last year when I took you diving in the Keys? And literally the day that we went diving, there was a spear fisherman who got attacked by a bull shark in the Keys. And you freaked.
I did freak.
Well,
freaked out.
He tried to spear a shark.
Super freaked. Yeah, don't do that.
He tried to spear a shark.
I have a feeling that the shark was like, okay, you got the first slap in. I'm about to get the next slap in.
Right. So they're just defending themselves.
Right.
There was a very famous videographer who does like a lot of deep sea like photography of sharks and stuff. And he got attacked by a big bull shark. But what happened was when he fired his camera, the strobe startled the shark and the shark attacked.
I can kind of just see that happen.
It's their defense mechanism. But if you're just swimming along, they won't bother you at all.
Okay, total side note, nothing to do with diving. This week we watched the movie Beast.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. If you're looking for something that's like, you know what, I've seen Jaws, I really liked it. I want to see something like on land, and you want to see something with like a lion in it, like great, like really cool acting too. Like it was just really good.
Christian, when do we get to see behind the scenes for episode 9 of RV Unplugged? Tomorrow.
Mañana.
I'm actually, I got to finish editing it.
Yeah, we apparently had a lot to say.
We had a lot to say, so I'm trying to cut it down because after we got voted off and we went over to Camp Margaritaville, it was like 55 minutes long, so I'm trying to edit it down.
Yeah.
Plus we had some like us kind of
chatting,
well, like doing things, like somebody cleaned the black tank and that kind of stuff.
Who could that be?
Patty said, hey Joe, I have an 18-pound brisket that I want to cook low and slow in the oven. What would be the best temperature and about how long should it cook? Depends on 18 pounds. I would go 225 to 250 degrees. Never cook the time, always cook the temperature. So you're going to put it in, I would probably, depends on when you want it done. If you want to make sure it's done for a certain time, what I would do is put it in like first thing in the morning, like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. You're going to put it in, get it to 165 degrees internal temperature. Make sure you use a meat probe. 165 degrees internal temperature. Then you're going to wrap it completely in butcher paper or aluminum foil. You're going to put it back in until it gets to a temperature of 205 to 210 degrees. If you want to make sure it's done, what you can do, even in the oven, put it in your oven the night before, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. This is thanks to Chris Bear. I would do it in the smoker, but if you don't have a smoker, you do it in the oven. You can have the same results. Put it to your lowest temperature your oven will go, which is probably 170 degrees. Let it go all night long. All night long at 170 degrees. When you get up in the morning, it's going to be at 165 to 170 degrees. At that point, wrap it in aluminum foil. Go do an internal temperature of 205 to 210 degrees. You would set your oven at that point to about 230 degrees. That'll get it over. You should be past the stall at that point. You'll probably be done somewhere around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You need to give it at least an hour or 2 hours to rest. And that'll stay till 6 o'clock if you need it to. Like once you get it there, just turn down the oven, turn off the oven. But you can let it rest, crank down the oven to like 160 degrees to keep it warm if you need to. Lady Fritzer said,
Hi,
if you
lady.
add up the wasted minutes as well as the toxic impact from watching ads on YouTube, it's worth to pay the
So
premium.
true.
I agree.
So true. Like, have you ever had and this could be on regular network television as well. Have you ever had a string of commercials that went so long that you forgot what show you were watching?
Yes.
I have absolutely had that happen where I was like, what am I watching? What show is this?
Well, I have in my old age have gotten more to the point of figuring out, like, is something worth it? Like, we would never pay delivery fees. I would be like, oh, okay, we need chicken food. We have to go to Tractor Supply. Well, Tractor Supply is 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
Or for $20, I can have them deliver it. And so now what I do is I just have them deliver it. They'll deliver it the same day if I order it before 2 o'clock. So I order like 2 bags or 3 bags or whatever else I need. And for $20 or $30, they'll deliver it to my house, which in the past I was always like, that's a lot of money. But then I got to go, what is my time worth? It's an hour to get there. It's an hour to get back, plus gas, plus tolls, plus the time there. So by the time I'm done, it's 3 to 4 hours. What can I accomplish in those 3 to 4 hours? Would it be worth it to just spend $20 or $30 for the delivery?
Can I just say the mail is getting weird over at the Stauffer house? Today we had forklift sticks to come to the house.
It's called pallet forks.
It's a pallet fork.
We had a pallet fork delivered.
We had a pallet fork delivered.
Yes, for the tractor.
I know, but that's weird. Pallet fork, that's weird. That is weird. It's getting weird around here.
I would have liked to have seen the FedEx guy's face. Like, why am I delivering pallet forks to this house?
This has got to be the wrong address. This has to be going from this address to someplace else, right? The other thing that I was really like, really? It was cheaper for us to order it and have it delivered, like free delivery on a pallet fork.
Yeah, so the pallet forks at the tractor dealership were $1,100, but I could order the same exact brand directly from the company,
yes.
Titan,
yeah,
with delivery to my house for $600.
I sent out recently a little package of mail, and it was like $12 for shipping that little package. And this was a pallet fork free delivery.
Right. Well, we need a cutting edge for the bucket, and he couldn't get it in time. So I said to him, "Can you order it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to have to drive 2 hours to pick up again. Think about my time: 2 hours there, 2 hours back to pick it up." He's like, "We can just ship it to you. The shipping will be like $50. I can buy the same exact cutting edge for $100 cheaper and free shipping online."
I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. Let's see.
Jujube.
Jennifer said,
you just deleted it.
Did I? I'm actually concerned about how low my cholesterol is. The total is 133. For me, I would be afraid of that too. It would be too low. But that's just me. Remember, we are not doctors, nurses, or health
I might get labs and just see what all is going on.
I don't see Jujube's.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, there you are.
Cable turned to streaming. Now the streaming got greedy. Now everyone is on YouTube. What is the next thing after all the ads from YouTube?
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We had one streaming service.
Yeah.
We did like the HBO, and then they got bought up, and the next thing you know, it's like everything is like then Anthony's like they're all in one now, like because we really like Discovery. So now it's like
Discovery
one
Channel.
in all of them.
Yeah.
But it's like the next thing. So you don't have a cable bill anymore, but now the next thing you know, you've got $10 to this one and $10 to that one and $10 to this one. Netflix is about to go because they're just charging too much money.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be cheap. I just lowered it down where you can only have one device watching it. And it's only because it's free with our T-Mobile. But we used to like, hey, everybody in the family use it. No, because they were charging me like $20 after the discount from T-Mobile.
I'll enjoy it while we have it. No, I do love Discovery Channel. Speaking of Discovery Channel, because I love watching like animal shows. Today, amazing sighting. There was a mama duck. I did put a picture of it on Instagram. I'll have to put it in Mighty Network so you guys can see it. 16 ducklings. 16 ducklings. I'm going to stop complaining about stress because I am not a single mother duck trying to get 16 ducklings safely across the street at one time. There's nothing that should be stressing me out. Because that level of stress on that mom, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Barb said, hello, I'm so glad I found you.
Hey,
I
Barb.
appreciate your knowledge and common sense approach to eating and educating and reminding me that perfect is not possible and I can achieve my goals anyway.
Way to go, Barb. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's our whole thing. It's like, you're never going to be perfect. We're not perfect. If you want us to be perfect, you might as well just hit unsubscribe right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at us.
We're not going to be perfect.
No.
Joe said,
Hey, Joe.
40 years of lobstering, my friends or I have never pulled the lobster with eggs. How is that possible?
Really? That's amazing, because I feel
that's all
like
that's left. I pulled 12 pregnant lobsters yesterday.
12.
And I mean, I'm sitting there battling. I got this one. She was like this big, and it's so disappointing when you turn over and you see this big orange sack. You're like,
sorry.
Really?
The only thing is, you've got to keep the right perspective, because this is future diving.
I understand that.
You're
but
looking at the underbelly of future diving.
When you're solo diving,
Yes.
Okay.
And you fight one for.
And I'm like, I just wasted 5 minutes of precious dive time fighting a lobster I can't bring back. And then you get down to like I'm very good with my air consumption, but I have a certain time that he wants me back on the boat. And I'm generally the first one in and the last one out. So they're waiting for me. And I'm sitting there going, I start like 10 minutes away from him, like, can I just find one? How can I find one? And then without fail, as I begin my ascent, I look down and there's a lobster.
And a giant one too. Not even a tiny one, like giant
yesterday second boat trip out, my last dive of the day, and I'm coming up, and we were diving this one part where it's like a reef, and then there's a patch, and there's a reef. So I look at my watch. He told me I had an hour. So I start my ascent, and then I look down, and we're over a reef where I know there's lobster, and I'm like, oh, I want to go back down. And then I get up, and because it was really rough, people were taking a long time to get on the boat.
Yeah.
I sat there floating for 20 minutes. I'm like, I could have seen,
And does he have his little pincers out going like...
They don't have pincers.
Bye, sucker.
They don't
these are the
Florida
ones.
lobster.
Yeah, it's just a tail. So does he wave his tail at you like, smell you later?
Yeah, right.
Smell you later, bald guy.
Yeah, just lots of pregnies out yesterday. Matt said, I wish I had a place like that comic book store when I was a kid. I would have loved it so much.
It was so fun. I'm really thankful for that, like a hangout place. I think that that's really important, and I like that our family was the facilitator of that. Like we were, it was something that we were passionate about. Like the hobby of collecting baseball cards and comic books was something that was like really meaningful to my dad and my brother and me, and so it was just it just felt like a nice opportunity to provide that space for others. Once the hobbies always change, the landscape of that changes, and it just was more fiscally responsible to just start selling online. And even then, after like the Lord Voldemort year, it's changed too, because when everybody was like inside, a lot of people started up collecting again. And my brother has said it's really been challenging to like find collections because people don't throw things out. A lot of times, you get old baseball cards because moms saved them and then somebody sells them, right? Yeah. And now nobody's getting rid of anything.
Sean said, OMG, you play Magic. That's so freaking cool. I used to. Like, when we first started dating, I was playing Magic.
What kind of deck did you have, Sean?
Chris said, we asked the kids what they wanted while we were gone to Florida, so I'm pre-cooking 20 pounds of pork chops, 10 pounds of taco meat, and a bunch of jalapeno cheddar smoked sausages from Sam's Club.
Oh, my gosh. Jalapeno smoked cheddar sausages. Yes, I'm here for it. I love it.
Evelyn said,
hey, Evelyn.
I did not even realize that you had kids before you were together. You were such an amazing team. I thought you've been together forever.
Thank you.
We've been married for 16 years. We've been together for 17, married for 16 years. And so when we got married, John Paul was...
He's in 4th grade.
10, I think. 10 or 11. And then Caleb, when we first met... Caleb was 6 and Anthony was 6, and then Anthony turned 7 in July.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was, in fact, we met like the Monday after Caleb's birthday that year.
And we never believed in like the step terminology. It was just like we're one family, and I felt like that would, you know, it's the same thing. Like we're about to get another daughter in the family, and we just never thought like in-law. It was just kind of like daughter. So like Sarah will be our daughter when she marries Anthony
for us,
on November 1st.
It's one of the reasons we didn't have any other children, because we really wanted to work hard on blending the family that we had, and we never wanted our kids to be like, okay, well, you're mine, that's yours, this is ours, and like literally yours, mine, and ours, and then have like them resent a new baby going, well, because that one's you together.
That was just the way that we handled it.
Right. It was really important for us to blend a family, and I think we did a good job. I think.
I hope so.
Juliana said, we have a horse of a deer that I'm eating all of my flowers now. Like it legit came on my concrete stairs and ate my hostas.
Oh my gosh, I am
Terry has that problem.
Sorry, yes, Terry has that problem. She is way into, and I bet you probably are too, Jujubee, is the like some different homesteading channels that show like different natural ways to try to like make the animals not want to come around your garden. She's always trying to have like, where you're not.
And me, I'm trying to figure out what to plant to actually attract deer.
Oh, I know. Me too. We're going to have deer feeders.
Yeah, but I want deer feeders for different reasons than you want deer feeders.
I know, but...
John said, you snooze and you miss the boat, you swim home. Now, the cool thing is here in Fort Lauderdale, like, you're not even a half a mile off
you
the
actually
beach.
could
you
swim
can
home.
You could, and it's happened. Like, where somebody came up and they didn't see the boat was just picking up somebody else, and they swam to the beach, which, of course, resulted in the Coast Guard being called.
Yes.
Because we've got a missing diver. Like,
you don't want to hear that. Sean, how cool. You played in Magic the Gathering tournaments. In Commander, I have a lot of decks. My sons and I played Magic the Gathering tournaments at the local comic book store, and I took the boys to Philly last year for Magic Con. It was so fun. How cool is that?
Bill said, why were there so many lobsters a few weeks ago? They were all busy horizontal folk dancing.
Obviously, they were getting busy.
I swear that they know. But I think what happened, though, is, again, when they opened up, people went nuts. The Florida residents, everybody went out. From what I understand, everybody, limited out that morning.
Wow.
They literally were in the water an hour and they got all their lobsters and they came home.
I hear that.
And I know people go home and then they get rid of the lobster and then they go back out, even though you're allowed 6, regular season we can get 6 a day. But who's to know that I go out, I get 6, I bring them home. They don't know.
Joe, believe the best. Believe the best about people.
It's not what I've seen.
I have heard a lot from different hunters that will say, deer season, you don't see any deer. As soon as deer season is over, all of a sudden they're like, nanny, nanny, boo, boo, you didn't get me. And same thing for turkey season. Yeah. That it's all of a sudden, it's the animals know. They know. They're on the radar.
Let's see.
That's another animal I keep going back and forth on and would love to have y'all's feedback on is turkeys. I think my answer to raising turkeys is going to be Jersey Giant chickens, which was actually a breed that was established in the hopes of competing with the turkey market. So I'm thinking if I get a big enough chicken, won't even need turkey, because I'm also not a huge turkey meat eater.
I love turkey.
I mean, once a year, but I don't see it or lunch meat. I guess you could make your own lunch meat. Tom said, sorry guys, New Smyrna Beach here in Florida is #1 place in the USA for shark bites. Yeah, that is true, but it's on the beach. Right.
You know, it's just, again, sharks tend to attack surfers and swimmers if they're, especially at certain times of the year.
It is amazing, and I was really not prepared for this when diving, but when you get under the water, all of the fish treat you like fish. It's so funny. So
I was yesterday. I mean, giant angelfish like this big. Just
they come like
sea
right
turtles.
up to you.
Yeah.
So like if you go into the beach and like you're walking and all of a sudden you see like a little bit of fish, you see they're all like, they run away from you. They're like super scared of you. But when you're just swimming under the water, they just don't even care that you're there. It's so wild. I guess because they're used to seeing fish and creatures of all sizes. So it's like big or little. All right, I'm not worried about you.
John said, would you guys ever consider trying out for another reality show such as Amazing Race?
Totally.
I would. So it's funny because
Stacey and Phil would really...
Phil and Stacey want to do Amazing Race. That's a long time to be away, though. Like they're like 30 days, and I don't know if I could be away for 30 days. Like RV Unplugged was enough.
What I do tend
But I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh, me too. I tend to feel like Phil and Stacey, where they're like, that is very merit based.
That's what I was going to say.
There's not a vote off element
if we would, and I don't see us doing it, but if we were, it would have to be something like Amazing Race, where it's more about your ability than the social game, because we obviously stink at the social game.
Did you enjoy this last episode? If you watched it of RV Unplugged, there was no vote off, totally merit based, and they were able to get from the final 4 to the final 2. And I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed the activities that they did, where they had to like set up the campsite. I still wonder if me and Joe, our marriage would have survived that challenge, but I thought it was really fun to watch, and there was no vote off, which was really fun.
Juliana said, Joe, did Barracuda make you nervous? When I was snorkeling in Key West, they told us to always be afraid of Barracuda, not the sharks. So,
don't wear earrings.
Fun fact, I got certified in 1990, and when I moved to Florida, I was an avid diver in New York because I lived on the water. And, when I moved down here, at the time my wife had wanted nothing to do with diving, so I dove with a dive club there, and I did a lot of solo diving there as well. So when I moved down here, I sold all my dive gear because I was afraid of Barracuda. And, because you hear Barracuda, when you go fishing, Barracuda like to just chomp. They don't kill you, but they have really bad razor sharp teeth. So I was afraid of them. And it turns out Barracuda don't bother you. Rachel's been swimming with Barracuda.
I have swim. They're very like tough looking. They just have a
But they just swim right past you. They don't.
But they're not friendly looking, and they can get big. And
But they never attack.
They just don't wear.
Again, they will go after snorkelers.
Don't watch out if you're wearing like earrings, or you're wearing watch things that are very like silvery.
Well, you shouldn't be wearing them. But even
so
that,
it's like a lure.
When you talk to Hugh, and he was like, even that's kind of a myth. It's just like it's something that you're more afraid of. But I mean, who's wearing dangling earrings when they're scuba diving anyway?
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that was saying it wasn't as good without us on last night's episode. I love you guys. You make us feel so good. Thank you.
Miriam said, Max says you're more likely to die being run over by a cow or hit in the head with a coconut than being bit by a shark.
That is really good to know, because I feel like it's going to be very highly unlikely that I get hit in the head or attacked by either of those things.
Yeah. I mean, statistically,
I like my odds.
Statistically, you have a better chance of dying in a bicycle accident or jogging than if you're a scuba diver.
Goodness.
Like by a lot.
But I don't want to discourage someone for bicycle riding or jogging. And also, Joe, we don't need any fresh excuses for not getting exercise in. So
John said one time on YouTube they had a Skipple ad that was a 2-hour show. I wasn't paying attention and was like, what am I watching?
I could totally see that. The other thing is, if you, let's say you're watching a show on YouTube and you just step away and it ends, and then they just start playing something that you did not request. Sometimes it is not a natural, if you just got done watching Rachel and Joe's Fat Bomb recipe, the next thing that you'll obviously want to watch is installing a toilet.
Right.
And you're like, why is this the next show? Why did I come? I go to get a drink, I come back, and this is on.
For years we'd be watching something and we'd fall asleep and you wake up and Traveling Robert's on.
I love traveling
Now I'm
Robert.
watching stuff like I can be watching anything and I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up and there's this I can't remember the name of it, but I've actually learned a lot. It's a Canadian guy teach you how to like do stuff in your house, but his videos are long. They're like 2 hours long. But like I learned a lot about drywall. Like I've been doing drywall work for like since I was a teenager with my dad, and I learned a lot from him. Hopefully I'll be able to follow his lead and drywall the new house, right? Like one of the things he said, when you buy that bucket of drywall compound, you're supposed to add water to it. I'm like, what? And he was like, yes, don't ever use that without adding water.
I don't like to go to bed with any I like quiet, okay?
But if you always go to sleep with me.
So when I wake up, he'll like I'll have a television set on or something, which is terrible. You should not have screens on. And I woke up to the sounds of like hammering. And it was this guy that you're talking about, just like breaking down a wall. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, but I'm learning a lot.
I know, but you almost got kicked out of bed last
Chris
night.
said, okay, that answers another question. When you got voted off, where did you go? Just to the RV park. Yes, we went to Camp Margaritaville. Which was really cool because we would never stay there because I can't afford it.
It was so swanky. Like, I can't wait for you guys. If you guys are going to be staying, like, for their finale rally, really pretty.
Yeah.
Really, really pretty. It's very different than the motel we stayed in most recently.
Yeah.
Very different.
Juliana said, I mailed my nephew a hand-painted coconut from Hawaii, a literal coconut addressed and painted and stamped. No box, just a coconut, his face and his mailman's face.
Oh, I was going to say, the other thing that will make the mailman have a face is live chickens. When you order like those day-old chicks, I just go straight to the post office to pick them up because I don't want them to have to like bring that on their route. I feel like if I was the postal worker, that would really scare me, wanting to make sure that I deliver live animals and don't lose anybody. So I just go right to the post office. And so when I do, they're always like, are you here for a chicken? Because like, yes, one of our boxes is like squeaking. I just need to know. There's tweet, 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 tweet.
John said, I have Paramount Plus, Netflix, Discovery, YouTube TV, and Amazon, more for free delivery than streaming. Yeah, we have the Amazon, but I got really mad that they added ads to Amazon. Like, why? Like, I am already paying for Amazon Prime. Like,
seriously.
Now you're putting ads in my movies.
Newman.
Lisa said, I moved out of California 3 years ago, bought a Kubota tractor for myself, a middle-aged woman, so I don't think your new adventure is weird.
Thank you, Lisa. That's awesome.
Pamela said, on a positive note, I got the Kasori Dehydrator from Prime Day sale. Bacon jerky is so good.
Yay.
Thanks for sharing all that you do.
Oh, Pamela, I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. I'll tell you what, Joe, you just like tripped and stumbled on something really awesome, and I'm trying to keep my mouth out of it.
What?
Because I know you made them for you. But the spicy lunch meat, dehydrated, so find a lunch meat if you think there is a beast that you are fine with. We found like this spicy, it's like a buffalo jalapeno chicken type.
It was whatever was on special meat.
It was on special meat, you know, like, hey, buy this or we have to throw it in the trash. And we dehydrated it. Oh my goodness. Talk about like an excellent meat cracker. Good and crisp. I mean crispy.
Jamie said, Rachel, he was sad because he wanted you to have a nice dinner.
So romantic.
Matt said, wow, we were only together for 2 weeks when I proposed. We got married 4 months later, 26 years strong.
Wow, you knew it. You knew that was the girl.
We got engaged right around Christmas time. It was about 6 months or so, a little bit longer. But then the deal was we could not get married until I sold my house. We made the decision that we were going to sell my house because I had a mortgage and Rachel's didn't. So we would sell my house. And so that was the deal. And then she looked at me and she goes, and you cannot try to lower the price to marry me faster.
Don't dump that house.
But we did get married like 2 weeks after the house.
We did.
After we got a legitimate offer with the deposit, we got married. Jamie said, why would you want to attract deer, Joe? What's in the box?
Yeah, what's in the box?
Absolutely. Let's see. Golf Addict, I just found your channel and I've subscribed.
Well, welcome.
Well, thank you very much.
What's your swing like, Golf Addict? I'm fairly decent at mini golf. There is a mini golf course at Camp Margaritaville.
Yes, there is. John said, feed them all summer and then they'll show up for a snack during deer season. Bam! Freezer is full.
Freezer full.
Jesse said they absolutely love salt. All animals seek it out. My dad uses it on his property to attract deer.
That is definitely a plan for us too. And it's interesting. So we have had the distinct privilege of being able to visit the Redmond Real Salt mine a couple of times. And when we've come home from that, we've brought home like boulders of salt, because anything that you can carry, you can take out of the Redmond mine, which I think is pretty freaking cool. And so, yeah, we have these great big things. And so as we're thinking about like what to pack and what to leave, we're like, oh, we'll be able to put these big boulders on our property, and we know that the animals will love it.
Juliana said, I'm trying a new rule. If I want to sit down and live stream like now, I'm picking up my knitting. If I'm not doing chores, I'm going to be knitting. That's
I like that.
Cool.
That's really good. That's it. It's a very good efficiency tool.
Chris said, Miriam and I agreed that if we were doing that campsite building thing, Miriam would be doing the assembly and I would have been doing the describing. And we would have been a divorce attorney.
I really wondered about that as well, because you saw that in the cases of all 4 teams, they all chose for the man to put the campsite together and the women to direct them. And I wondered
I
if
would have done
anybody
it reverse.
chose
I would have
differently.
done it reverse.
Yeah.
Because I would have gotten frustrated with you. I actually texted Dustin last night and I'm like, wow, how did you guys keep your calm so much?
What was his thought?
He was like, I don't know. Because they were I'm like, you guys did great.
Matt and Mandy were also, I mean, in fact.
You could see they were getting frustrated. Like Dustin and Leslie just held their cool.
I loved when she said, don't bring Jesus into it.
Yeah, that was
awesome. But
awesome.
I liked when Matt and Mandy, when you could tell Mandy was very frustrated of like, you're just not getting it, Matt. And then I liked when Matt was like, I'm sorry, honey, because he knew that the disappointment was like, I know that you're trying to explain this and I am just not getting it. I am sorry, but this is a little weird, okay? My first time putting a campsite together with directions on the other side of a sheet.
Barb said, I really enjoyed the camp setup challenge. I can't imagine my husband and I would have done. 3 days later, the chair, cup, and the tripod need to be reset.
You guys in the chat, I was rolling laughing. Some of the ones that were like, you know, if my husband would tell me one more place where to, you know, stick this, I'd stick the chair peg somewhere, like where the sun don't shine.
So John said, can you make your own Redmonds out of those boulders, or is it low quality? So so you can. So here's the cool thing about Redmond. It is legitimate salt. Salt is salt is salt. So when you go there, they have different areas of the mine. So they have some that are for agriculture and, you know, like going
road
for horses
salt.
and then they have another section which is only for human consumption. It's the same salt. The difference is in the part where it's for human consumption that they're going to put in bottles, they use different types of machines there where everything is basically like stainless steel. The lubricants in the machines
edible
are oils that you could eat. Not that you would eat it, but you could eat it.
I love that.
I don't think they use diesel in that part. I don't remember. Their fuel for so it's just
very careful.
It's just a little different. But could you? I licked the wall in that. I don't know if I don't know. Chris would probably know better than me because we've only been there twice. If the section they take us to is that the human grade section that they're just not mining anymore because they keep moving on and on and on. But yeah, we have literally eaten that stuff.
When I am in between orders and I'm like, we're running low, I have grabbed some of the little rocks that we have brought back, and I've just put it into a spice grinder and grind it up. Because the one cool thing about Redmond as well is they don't take out the other minerals. That's why you'll see like colors, like it almost looks peppered at sometimes because they don't
just
take
different
anything
mineral
out.
Concentrations.
Yeah.
Okay, we are gonna get off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Keto Beyond the Couch. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you hit that bell button so that you are notified. I was going to say so that you are notified every time we upload a new video.
We love you guys.
Bye.